So, Sally, can you take us back to those early days of Business Southampton, as it was known then, and how you first got involved?
So in the early days, I think somebody came running up to me at an event, waving a bit of paper with a job description, saying, "You need to go for this."
Yeah.
And I had at that time I had been setting up a marine and manufacturing maritime cluster on the Isle of Wight in Cowes, and that work was coming to an end. And this was about bringing a city together, bringing the public sector together with the private sector, education and charities for a better city. And so I thought, well, I'll look at that, and it sounded really interesting. Little did I know what I might be letting myself in for, but
at that time, yeah.
But I remember sitting in the council office with the CEO in my first week, and him talking about putting the city on the map, needing a city brand, needing city image, sorting out the transport, making sure the skills were there, and it was just such a huge agenda. I thought, well, this is interesting, one person, no budget. Yeah. So how are we going to move it forward? But I think they were really frustrated because, you know, the weather maps, Southampton wasn't even on the weather map.
No.
It always mentioned Portsmouth and the other areas, but they said we can't even get on the map for the weather, let alone for sort of investment and jobs and growth and to be known as a regional business destination and a global trading hub. So
yeah,
I think, you know, there was a lot of work to do to
bring that forward. And it must have been an exciting time, even if it was a little bit overwhelming. And what were your hopes and aspirations for the organisation? Because you are an ambitious person, so you always had that vision, didn't you, for where you wanted us to go?
Well, I think I spent the first 6 months actually listening to people. Yeah. So I went to see business leaders from all different organisations, whether it was from the port or the cruise companies or from the finance and lawyers and the colleges, and, you know, so many different people, and listening to them about their priorities for their own businesses and what their sort of main objectives and priorities, and also what the issues and barriers were, but also about the place.
Yeah.
And then trying to sort of make sense of all of that information. I always believe that every conversation leads to an opportunity, as you probably remember.
I do.
And then, so I sort of looked around the UK and internationally, actually, and looked at different models about what might work to bring the communities together in Southampton to help put it on the map.
Like you say, I think the big difference with us was that we were prepared to listen, and actually we didn't want to duplicate anyone else's effort. It was very much about working together for the good of the place and the people in it. And I think we used to often say we were slightly ahead of ourselves with all of that. When you think what's happening across the UK and with, you know, various regions, they were thinking in that way already, and we had a bit of catching up to do, I think.
Yeah, I think it brought home to me when you know, when I was told that West Quay took 24 years to be the first phase of West Quay took 24 years from concept to completion, and the city just wasn't reaching its potential back then. It needed a collective approach.
Yeah.
And so having looked at that and launched the Champion programme at Southampton Football Stadium in January 2007.
Yeah.
And then recognising 15 founder city champions, asking them to come up to the stage and get a plaque, because they might have supported the aspirations with providing an office or some marketing or a website and or a bit of cash to get going.
Yeah.
And then all these other delegates in the room were saying, well, we want to be a city champion. So was it? Great. Well, you know, it needs to be £3,000 really to be a city champion.
And the rest is history, isn't it?
And so we had to find a way to drive that budget and support really to make the model work.